Back with City Life, and we're still with Jill Darcey from the Complex Family Foundation. Now, the three main things we spoke about before the break: communication, routines and money. Let's look a little bit further into those things. Communication first.
Great. Well, communication, we always believe communication is the answer to world peace, but obviously we haven't got there. Let's talk about how we can, what kind of issues we have relating to that. Normally, it's quite hostile. You feel, one partner will feel quite intimidated, and so there's a real bridge that we need to try and build here. And if I can give an example of a client that I've recently been working with, she was divorced 8 years, she's got 4 small children, and unfortunately her husband did the fairly cliche type relationship exit off with another person. Really hard for her to handle, and she was carrying the wounds of having to have the children with her most of the time. The ex had then another life. He was more interested in his other life, and he wanted to see the children when it suited him. And she was really saying, how do I even talk to him about this? They'd been in and out of court 4 times throughout that 8-year period. Those are very long, drawn out. If you know anyone who's been through it, it is not a nice ordeal for people to go through. Professionals in and out of the home. You have counsel for child, where they're trying to understand where the children are at. They ask the children what they want, all sorts of things that were going on. So what I did with her, after these sort of 8 years full court battles, you can imagine that he was very intimidating and he was holding the power a lot over her. She would have that gut wrench, as you can imagine, opening an email and you see the name coming up and thinking, I'm too scared to even open it, too scared to look at texts. She'd be quite reactive and withdrawn. So I spent an hour with her every week for 8 weeks in our workshop, and I talked through one of the keys with communication is, what are you saying and how are you saying it, and what mode of communication are you using when you're saying it? Because all too often we tend to send texts because it's easy and it's quick, or we get on email and we start reciting all the facts of what we see, and then we put in all this emotion of we felt let down and we feel betrayed and all these other things of what you're not doing, or just that whole poison that's coming out too often that we don't see we're doing. So we worked with the whole concept of only write short, constructive, factual emails if you're going to email. Okay. And let's work with that. No texting anymore, just email, but this is how it will be. So I actually sat with her, writing the emails with her in those times. Now, at the end of the 8-week program, she managed to send off the positive email, and I was with her when she opened up the reply email with her heart stopping, and it was the first positive email she'd had in 8 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so, these things work. And she just burst into tears because suddenly the doorway's open now to build a bridge for future. And that's what she's done. She's worked on this to now the point that they can actually sit like this across a cafe table. They still won't do it in each other's homes, but they can do it across a cafe table, and they can sort out some other issues. So I say be very appropriate about how you communicate, but be careful on what you're saying. No negative comments at all. Okay. Just ditch them. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a point that you've got to prove. Let it go, be constructive, and then be really careful what mode of communication you're using. So email is known for being a poor form of communication in delicate issues. Text messaging is great for brief. There in 15 minutes. Can you make sure the kids have got their shoes? That type of thing, nothing more.
Okay. And also, I guess with writing emails, you should write it, you should draft it, and then go back to it a bit later once you've sort of calmed down, cooled down a little bit, and put everything down on email. Would that be right?
So I think actually another step, because that's really important and that's a really good thing to say to people, even sleep on it. So write your thoughts down, but don't construct the email. Okay, write your thoughts down and then sleep. And then the next day come back and say, if I was receiving this, how would I like to have heard it? So it's really that message of treat someone else the way you would like to be treated. And even if someone's screwed up, because our exes screw up, let them screw up without being berated by us, you know, because we're going to screw up one day and we don't want to really be told off. We would like someone to go, oh, okay, yep, screw up, never mind. It's kind of that level of respect that, yes, everyone's going to screw up in an ex relationship.
Okay. Okay, so that's communication. We'll be back soon.